Welcome to episode 18 of the Jungle Podcast. I'm your host, John. You know Jeff as well.
I can't take it seriously.
We're doing another episode today. This one's actually going to be live. Should I reshoot this thing?
No, I think
we're going to keep on going.
I think you keep it going.
So, if you can't tell, based on the headset here, or the helmet, in the basement that the King built. So, I'm excited to get a live episode, or one where we're actually live together.
Yeah.
So yeah, first one off the board there.
Well, first and foremost, actually, I know we're going to go into news and notes, but biggest news of the day, my co-host, happy birthday, John.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
The big 3-0. So
30 fun. No, I'm 31.
Oh, you are 31.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, what am I saying? Yeah, because I'll be 32 this year.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm thinking.
That's okay.
But yeah, so all right, so 30 fun. That's awesome. Came up from Texas to celebrate with friends and family. So good to see you, buddy.
Absolutely. Good to have you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you got
That's
it.
what I should have said.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I guess jumping in before you hop into some news and notes.
How can they find us?
If you want to find us, you can find us on YouTube as the Jungle Podcast. You can find us on any podcast platform as the Jungle Podcast, and you can find us on Twitter at the Jungle Pod.
Awesome.
Looking for a little bit more engagement on some of those polls. So if you're listening or watching, go and vote, because we obviously want as much fan participation as we can get. So yeah, I guess let's just hop right into some news and notes.
Yeah.
This is something that isn't really the world of sports news, Jeff, but the T-shirts are in.
No, you didn't.
I got 6 The Jungle Podcast T-shirts. It may have been a gift.
Okay.
Because I think somebody had heard and had initiated
One of our fans?
I have an XL for you, or
Okay.
maybe a double XL.
Hopefully it's double
I have
XL.
about 6 of them right now. So one's going to go to Dave. Dave, that shirt's coming as we promised. Got one for my co-host here.
That's exciting.
The shirts are in.
That's exciting.
So,
well, that's obviously besides your birthday, that's the second best news that I've heard all day. So that's fantastic.
Absolutely,
I can't wait
man.
to get those. I'm looking for. Did you put like the design?
It's on. It's in the. I didn't make them.
Okay.
A listener did.
A listener made them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's even better. So
Right.
we've gotten some fan engagement. Now we have to come up with another way.
Might have been my dad.
It might have been his dad. That's okay. That's how we do it here.
Yeah.
We keep it in the family at the Jungle Podcast. But all right, well, that's exciting. Make sure you tell him thank you.
Yep.
And we'll find some ways to get listeners the other extra T-shirts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll have some little nuggets out there to incentivize listening to these things longer.
Cool.
Because that's what most good podcasts do.
Cool.
So that's my big news for the week. How about
Cool.
you?
Yeah, my big news, I did go sports. It's really just on contract extensions. If you saw that Myles Garrett, I saw for the Browns, is working on what they called a massive deal.
I saw that.
Contract extension, which as a Bengals fan, I don't like because Myles Garrett is so good. And he has been fully reinstated, so there's no repercussions from what happened with him.
That's what I was thinking.
And
He hit a guy with a helmet, and he got rewarded.
Well, look, we don't know what Mason Rudolph really said. Obviously, there's rumors out there and how it all happened. I'm not saying it excuses him take his helmet off and hit him in the head with it.
Yeah.
But maybe
That's
he did.
frowned
I
upon.
don't know. It is frowned upon on the field to play there. But as a true player, Myles Garrett's one of the best pass rushers in the game. Super young. Super talented. So good for them up in Cleveland. And then Kyle Shanahan signed a 6-year extension that now they locked him up all the way through 2025 out in San Francisco.
Smart.
Yeah, really smart for them. Just good young coach.
Go to the Super Bowl and get rewarded.
Yeah, you're right. And you know what? They're going to have it's hard to say their team's not going to be as good as they were this year coming into it. You know? So good for them. Those are my 2 big news notes, just extension in the sports world. Cool.
That's pretty much all I had. Moving to kudos. You already said it. I gave the kudos of the week to me because it's my birthday.
There you go. Okay.
So couldn't really think of much, and it was the obvious one. So kudos to me.
Well, kudos to you. My kudos actually went to a 7-year-old boy who this happened, I think, at the end of last month. Curtis Rogers, he has a 17-year-old babysitter, and her prom got canceled. So he pulled the most G move I've ever seen, where ladies better watch out in the future because he's coming for you. He pulled off a prom for his 17-year-old babysitter.
Wow.
in his backyard.
That's pretty cool.
Had a dance, had a dinner. They got dressed up. Had a car come and pick her up.
So basically, he's hitting on his
pretty much hitting on his 17-year-old babysitter.
Yeah.
So just wait a few more years, buddy. It's all going to come together, and that story's going to keep coming out. Kudos to you because obviously making big moves as a 7-year-old, and his babysitter Rachel Chapman looked like she really enjoyed it, and I thought that was a really cool move on him, trying to practice social distancing and all that, and giving her the prom she deserves. So.
Yeah, I wasn't really. I was actually thinking. I was talking with Bo earlier. We have an observer right now.
Yeah, we have someone in the studio.
My chauffeur in the studio. Yeah, but I was saying like it would suck to be a senior in high school this year because like you lost everything.
Everything.
You know?
Well, senior, but even juniors right who are becoming seniors,
right.
they really have no idea what's going to happen.
Right.
I mean, if you look at right now, like all the colleges that they're having players test positive right now for corona. So when we mentioned it, what was it, 2 episodes ago or something? Yeah. Alabama had 5. Houston has
somebody
had 6.
Big yesterday just tested positive. Oh, did you send me something?
Ezekiel Elliott did.
Ezekiel
Elliott did.
And he tweeted HIPAA. Like,
oh yeah, you know what?
That's true. It's like, what are you talking about?
That's a really good point.
Why is my agent telling everyone that I tested positive for coronavirus?
That's a really good point.
Like, what else are you talking about?
If he doesn't want people to know, no one should know about
it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is a really good point. So hopefully Zeke's feeling well. I know you're a huge Zeke fan. I like Zeke. I'm not a Ohio State fan, but I love watching him run football. I hate the Dallas Cowboys too. So kind of a double whammy there of fandom for me. But that's hopefully he's doing well and gets all better and everyone else does, and we'll be able to return and play. So
sure thing.
Yeah. So there you go. That's my kudos. Your kudos, and I think we're gonna get into the meat of what we want the podcast to really be, which is our list and rankings. Last week we did running backs.
Yep.
2020-10.
It's hard because we're sitting next to each other. He's got his laptop up, and I'm trying not to just look at his list right now.
Well, he's trying to steal my ideas.
Yeah, really hard.
And my excellent list that he's about to. I don't know who he's gonna have in his list. So
what was that?
I don't know.
All right. So let's hop right into it. So last time we did NFL running backs from 2000-2010. This episode, we're going to do the same thing, but for wide receivers.
Yes.
And then with the next 2 episodes, we're going to update that from the next decade, so the 2010 to 2020 decade that we just closed out. But I digress. Coming back to wide receivers, Jeff, I guess let's start off with number 10. Who's your 10th best wide receiver of the 2000 decade?
2000 to 2010. I had a tough time with 5 through 10 on this, and I think a lot of them are probably pretty interchangeable, but I ended up putting Steve Smith.
That's the same.
So he's your number 10 as well. There you go. Yeah. So came in the league in 2001. Didn't do much in his first season, really in his first 2 seasons, but then 872 yards in a second. But then if you look at his 2005 through 2008, I mean, absolute stud. Had a 1,500-yard season.
Yep.
I also like him there. I know it's not the same decade, but his longevity in the sport has got to say something.
He's
right.
He's top. What? He's an easy top 10 all-time receiver.
Yeah, he's got to be.
Yeah. So he came in with the Panthers.
Yeah.
And he was like, to kind of give you perspective. Like, when did he retire? Not that long ago. Like maybe 4 years.
He was done in 2016.
Okay, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Look at that. So he quit 4 years ago. And do you remember the celebration where he went and he jumped on the pylon and slid down it? That was in like 2005.
Yeah.
That's how long that guy was playing at a high level.
The highest level.
Yeah.
The highest level.
And he was still doing well the last year in Baltimore, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he had 800 yards receiving his last year in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And he only played 14 games. So, I mean, longevity in the sport we already mentioned.
Right.
But I remember back when he played, he was so fast. He was always so tough also.
Tough.
He's tough as
number one thing, yeah.
Yeah.
He reminded me of Lavernius Coles, but like a better version of
Forgot about Lavernius Coles.
Remember him on the Jets?
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of similar, just like player, but he was a lot more aggressive.
Yeah.
And it showed.
Yeah. Yeah. So there we go. Number 10, for both of us.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, Steve Smith. Well, then why don't you tell me who your number 9 is?
Number 9 is Hines Ward.
Wow. So you had him all the way back at 9. I have him higher down the list.
When you look at the other names on the list, so Hines Ward, he wasn't an athletic freak. He did all the little things right.
Yes.
And he made big catches. But he also had Big Ben. He had good running game. I'm giving him he's a Hall of Fame player. I'm not tearing him apart, but when you look at some of the other guys on this list, it's like I think if I had to pick of the 2, which one would I have to catch balls? I'd take X, Y, and Z.
No, and I get that, and I think if you're purely talking about catching balls, I get it. But the reason why I kind of put him a little bit higher is one of the biggest assets that really good wide receivers also have is being able to block downfield, and he always was known for being such a good blocker downfield.
Right.
Always.
That's what I'm saying. That's a great thing.
So I get it. but he did.
I don't ranking how good they are at blocking.
No, but
like,
that's part of being a wide receiver.
Right.
But if you do look, I mean, you look at in 2000 from 2000 to 2010, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 out of those 10 years he was over 1,000 yards.
Yeah, and
so
he'll probably be a Hall of Famer.
Oh, he's got to be. I'm actually
right?
So when did he retire? 2009. I'm surprised he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. He's eligible.
Yeah. He was irritating as a Bengals fan because
I couldn't stand him as a Bengals fan.
He'd have that stupid smile on his face, no matter what's happening.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, always.
Like, dude,
I couldn't stand him as a Bengals fan. But he was always so tough. He was a true Steeler, is what he was.
He's all-time great.
All-time great. So all right, that's good. Your number 9 was Hines Ward. I actually flip-flopped these, and when I was writing mine down. So don't look, John. Keep your eyes off the screen here.
This is his list.
Yes, right there. Sorry, yours is on a notepad that you just wrote it down. So my number 9 is Chad Ochocinco Johnson.
That's horribly disrespectful.
I don't care.
That's disrespectful.
Look, when it comes as a true wide receiver,
we'll come back to that.
Chad Johnson's not going to be a Hall of Famer.
Just because haters.
Hines Ward
just because haters
will be a Hall of Famer. You even just said it. But Chad Johnson's not going to be a Hall of Famer. I love Chad Johnson, but if you look at it, and I look from 2002 to 2007, he had some really, really great years. I don't know. Like, if the other names on the list all impressed me more over a 10-year period, including Hines Ward, who we'll talk about later more. But yeah, he's my number 9.
Okay, I have Ocho a lot higher.
We have him like 2.
Just wait. I got at number 8. I have Reggie Wayne.
He's my 7, so that's fine.
I mean, Reggie Wayne was on like one of the all-time great offenses. Him being paired with Marvin Harrison, just not fair. Best duo since Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce on those like best chill on turf teams. And even trying to think like since then.
Isaac Bruce is a really interesting one with this list. I don't know if he's on your top.
I don't have him.
I don't either.
So he got docked because he was a lot of 90s,
yes.
late 90s.
Yes.
And it was kind of the same scenario we ran into last year or last episode of the list. Like, where do you put Marshall Faulk?
Yep.
Not by any fault of them.
Yep.
They just had bad timing to be easily categorized.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, Reggie Wayne, like, first, not the only guy on this list who went to the U. There's another one I got coming up. But just did everything right. Like, solid receiver. He was never the guy, but you always knew, like, he could go anywhere and do what he was doing.
You knew he was a Hall of Famer the second Marvin Harrison left,
and
he kept going. He was so good.
Right.
You know what I mean? And even when Marvin Harrison was there, he's probably arguably it's probably the best number 2 of all time.
They fed up,
or if there, what I mean, he's one of the best number 2. Yeah. So, and then he took over seamlessly and had such a good career left over. So I like Reggie Wayne there. Like I said, I have him higher. He's my number 7.
You have him at 7?
Yeah. And I think it's tough that he's at my 7. That's how much I think of Reggie Wayne. But I have this person at number 8. And it kind of pains me to say that he's my number 8 because you could probably move him up. And I almost want to switch him with Hines at 6. But I think of this guy as more of a completely over the past 20 years and not just the top 10. And not just 2000 to 2010. If you had him, if we were going from 2004 to 2020, you can make a case that this guy's number 1, Larry Fitzgerald.
Wait, where do you have him?
At 8.
What?
Yeah.
At 8?
Yep.
That's disrespectful too.
All right, that's fine.
Who do you have higher than
That's fine. The reason why, so I know
he's an all-time great.
I know. I just said he is. I just said he is. I just said it.
He's only the 8th of the decade?
From 2000 to 2010. If you have him later on after that, then I think that you can have him higher. But I mean, look, I'm looking at
don't show me that.
What is this? Bleacher Reports top 25 wide receivers. I just went through the top 10. He wasn't even mentioned. He's number 12. Number 12 on Bleacher Reports. I'm talking 2000 to 2010. You got to remember, he didn't come in the league until 2004. So those are 4 seasons right now, 2000 through 2003, that he didn't play. Now, he had unbelievable seasons, obviously. What was he? He had 2 1,400-yard receivers in 2007, 2008. But he's continued his greatness. I know since then he's one of arguably the best wide receivers. He's probably top 3 or top 4 if you put it all together. But he's my number 8.
Okay.
Yep. Number 7's Reggie Wayne for me, so I already know that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for 7 for me, I have Torrey Holt. So
at 7?
7. Same issue.
What do you mean? Go ahead.
So he played a lot in the 90s, man. Like, I docked him some for that. And when I look at all the other names, who can I put him ahead of? He had Mark Bulger, and then, or he had Kurt Warner, and then Mark Bulger.
Okay.
Those were great.
Mark
Those were
Bulger?
great. He was a Pro Bowler.
For what?
Those are great offenses.
I know, but
all I'm saying, he had Marshall Faulk. He had.
You can't ding him for playing on good offenses. He makes those offenses better.
If I look at him and I say, could I put him on that 05 Bengals team, and is he going to be better or worse than Ocho? If I can't say better, then he's going to
be better. Do you know that no one has more receiving yards, touchdowns, or catches from 2000 to 2010 than Torrey Holt?
Yeah, like I said, he had a lot of help.
so that's what. So he's higher.
That's hard to believe.
Yes.
He just got lucky time-wise. I mean, is he the best of the group? If
so you have Chad Johnson over Torrey Holt.
Yes.
Torrey Holt's in the Hall of Fame.
If you're going off stats, then why isn't he just at number one?
I'm sorry, he's not in the Hall of Fame. He's not in the Hall of Fame, so I make a mistake. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
I'm not going off just stats.
I know.
But I'm
giving
saying,
you my opinion.
I know.
My opinion is Ocho was better in that decade. We'll come back to him.
That's fine. I guess we will come back to him. So I would disagree with Ocho better in that decade. So my 6 was Hines Ward. We already talked about that. When you look at wide receivers from 2000 to 2010, I feel like he was so dominant. I talked about it. Down the field blocking. He was always dependable. Tough as nails. On those really, really great Steelers teams. In my opinion, as an overall wide receiver, the only one that I would now switch him with would probably be Larry Fitzgerald. If I look up, just as pure wide receiver, I'd probably bump Larry all the way down to 6 and just mark everyone down going over and looking at it. But yeah, I'm going to stick to it. Hines is my 6.
Hines legit. He just didn't have he doesn't have the it factor that the other guys had, like the explosive athleticism, or like you said, he did all the little things right.
Yeah.
But he never was like, wow, look at that play he made. It's more like, wow, look at that block.
Oh yeah, but he also had a ton of yards.
He's on my list.
A ton of catches. I know he is.
He's there.
Top
at
10.
9.
Top 10.
Nice, Tim.
So let's go through 10. So 10 for me: Steve Smith, 8 Ocho. I'm sorry, 9 Ocho, 8 Fitzgerald, 7 Reggie, 6 Hines Ward.
10 Steve Smith, 9 Hines Ward, 8 Reggie Wayne, 7 Torrey Holt, and 6 Andre Johnson, another one 5. From the U. Andre, when he beat the dude's ass in St. Louis, or is that what they were playing? No, it was in the Titans. Cortland Finnegan.
Yes.
A little punk.
He was a little punk.
I loved watching Cortland Finnegan.
I did too.
And I'd love to have my team.
Oh, 100%.
He was just always trying to fight. And Andre Johnson was so soft spoken, so always did things by the book, textbook kind of pro receiver. And he beats this dude's ass. Yeah. I remember him. You have to watch the replay, but he just literally rips him around like a rag.
Oh yeah. Well, he was a big man.
He's 6'3", 220.
Big man. Yeah.
Andre Johnson, just from a physical standpoint, if we're just ranking physical gifts, I think he'd probably be 3rd on my list.
It's hard not to put him top 3. I think some lists
physical gifts.
Some lists that I looked at, I think he was top 3. If you look at his, 2008 and 2009, he had over 1,500 yards receiving back to back. So those. And
he was another one that's who was throwing the ball? Carr.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
The first Carr.
Schaub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's.
Yeah.
He's the closest thing, and it's kind of funny.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Who?
He's an all-time great. I loved Andre Johnson.
I loved Andre Johnson. Look, he's my number 5. I had him even higher. Look, so he's your number 6, right?
I have him at 6.
Okay. Who's your 5? Larry Fitzgerald.
Chad Johnson. Here's why. Chad Johnson on those Bengals teams, if you ask anybody from that time period, he had the best feet they've ever seen, the quickest feet. And at his prime, at the top of his game.
Are we judging dancers? Or are we judging wide receivers?
He'd be a great dancer.
I'm sure he's probably a fantastic. Wasn't he on Dancing with the Stars?
I think he might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably won the thing. A lot of NFL players have. But just pure, people get lost in all the crap, changing the name and this and that. They don't remember he was dominant for years.
He was
6 years.
He was.
If you're not 1 or 2, he was always regarded as one of the top guys, at least in the AFC.
Yes.
Just made plays, dude. And then everything else kind of, obviously his career didn't end the way it should have. But when I'm looking at the list, okay, so I have him ahead of Andre, Torrey Holt, Reggie Wayne, Hines Ward, Steve Smith. So Andre Johnson's the only one that okay, maybe he probably would have done the same. Maybe, that's a kind of iffy one. Torrey Holt, I don't think he's doing what Ocho did. Reggie Wayne, I don't think he's doing what Ocho did. Hines Ward for sure isn't. Steve Smith for sure isn't.
Yeah, but like I said, for Hines, why I put him higher is just as an overall player at wide receiver. It'd be hard to argue that you'd rather have Chad Ochocinco over that 10-year span versus Hines Ward.
At the top, like the peak of their performance, like
I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that. I know
he was just so dominant.
But look, we're here for
he was the scariest deep threat, like in the league when he was at his prime.
For a couple years,
he was just gone. People forget that.
He was.
And just like the little acrobatic catches, like he was unbelievable.
Oh, he was. He had some unbelievable. Look, Bleacher Report had him at 6. So I mean, so he's obviously clearly
5.
You know. So you had him at 5. My 5 was Andre Johnson. Excuse me. My 4 and 3 I switched also after I wrote them down. My 4 I'm putting Torrey Holt.
Okay.
I already talked about his stats. Talked about it now, and I know he had a fantastic supporting cast, but I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. We already talked about him, kind of, you know, all his incredible numbers. But he's my 4.
So for my 4, I had Larry Fitzgerald.
There you go. All right.
I knew it was coming there.
This is the one that's bothering me that I have to have Larry Fitzgerald so far back. It's starting to bother me that I didn't think how great Reggie Fitzgerald. Yeah. But I do. But he's continually so great. He's still
he's still playing in 2020.
Yeah.
So he's doing something right. I don't know. We talked about him a lot. He's just solid. Yeah. He came in and he went to Pitt. Won the Biletnikoff there.
Second in the Heisman Trophy.
Immediately he was already an impact player, like right off the thing.
Yeah.
He's another one that played with a million different quarterbacks too.
A ton of them.
He's on like 4th or 5th quarterback.
In some battles.
Some real bad. They had like the years.
Some really good ones. He played with some really good ones.
Before Carson Palmer went there,
Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner was good for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And then it's like some stiff that they drafted that
Josh Rosen, they drafted.
Like yeah, he had a lot of bad ones.
I think him and Kyler Murray are going to have a really good year, especially because now they have DeAndre Hopkins there also. Yeah. So, and it's kind of, Larry seems like the type of guy who's going to be, look, DeAndre, you're probably going to be the guy now.
Right.
But I'm going to be perfectly fine with a little bit of less load. He's old. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like I said earlier, if this was a list from 2004 to 2020, you can make the argument that he belongs to be number 1.
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't put him there.
2004 to 2020.
Well, that's when he came in the league. Came in 2004.
I know, I'm trying to think who else I would put. I'd have to look at that. He probably would be. Yeah.
That's an interesting 17
years. Who else is still playing from them?
Yeah. See, that's a good point. So, I mean, look, I like him there. You're number 4.
Give me your number 3.
Marvin Harrison.
I have the same thing.
I bet you we have
the exact same thing.
3, 2, 1. I bet you we have the exact same.
So Marvin Harrison, the biggest knock against him is just the freakish athleticism that he doesn't have, that the next 2 guys that I have do have.
Yeah. But he was silently unstoppable.
Caught more balls than anyone else until Russ Walker came along. Just all he does is catch balls. His son is actually committed to Ohio State right now.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's bigger.
Is he also wide receiver too?
He's
also wide receiver.
He's a big one. He's not a burner.
Dude, they just get the wide receivers and just
Brian Hartline
out.
Brian Hartline. That's what it is. The coach.
Oh, is he coach?
He's the wide receiver coach at Ohio State.
Is he?
He's like the coolest young coach.
Yeah, they love to go play.
Everybody wants to.
They want to go play.
They've got the top receiver like 3 years in a row. The guys they have right now, we'll do something else.
Yeah.
But,
you look at what's crazy about Marvin Harrison. I know we both have. Look at these touchdown stats. 12, 14, 15, 11, 10, 15, 12, 12.
That's double digits for 8 years.
In that span for
10 years
for a wide receiver is absurd.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Had Peyton Manning in the stats prove it,
Yeah.
It reflects in the.
And I'm one of the ones. Look, I know we always talk. Yes, he had an amazing supporting cast, but he made that supporting cast better. So, and he made Peyton Manning. I mean, he's one of the reasons Peyton Manning's one of the best quarterbacks ever too.
I think it's a big piece.
Yeah, but huge piece. So, all right, good. So we both have a number 3. I guarantee you we both have the same number 2. It's
Terrell Owens. And number 1,
Randy Moss.
Cut to it. Randy Moss.
Yeah.
I was tinkering with the idea of actually putting T.O. 1
I'd been fine with that.
over Randy.
I'd been fine with that.
Because T.O. was 1. T.O. played with a million different quarterbacks. T.O. also brought a lot of crap along. Like he didn't make his life easy on himself. But even in 2010, when he was on the Bengals, he had more yards and touchdowns than Chad did.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a freak.
Yeah.
I'll bet you right now, if you gave him a month, he could get in shape and play a game or 2 and not be foolish.
No.
Not
look foolish.
I don't think Randy could. If we're talking about just like athletic ability, I think Terrell Owens might be the greatest athletic receiver ever.
It looks like he looks like a defensive end who can run like a wide receiver.
Right. Yeah.
And I've always heard too. I know people say he came with a lot of crap and a lot of baggage coming into teams, but he.
Oh, he's calling Jeff Garcia gay.
All that. All that
that was
stuff.
his quarterback.
All that stuff.
I don't know why that would upset him.
Yeah. Was that when he cried on the podium?
Yeah, he cried,
That's
and then
that's my quarterback.
I'm pretty sure that he started saying the same thing about Donovan McNabb.
It was about McNabb. That's right. Yeah, McNabb. So, but his touchdown stats. Look at this: 15, 13, 16, 14, 14, 13, 15, 10. Those aren't all consecutive. There's a couple 9, 6, and a 4 in between, broken up in there. But that's still freaking crazy.
Right.
That's crazy. So look, T.O. could have been number 1. I would have been fine with that. I love Terrell Owens. It was an absolute travesty that it took too long for him to be in the Hall of Fame. And it took, 2-3 years?
That's just salt.
Just absurd.
Yeah.
Absurd. Anyone who did not vote for him to be in the Hall of Fame should no longer be allowed to vote for Hall of Famers. Yeah. So I love Terrell Owens there. Randy Moss, we can go into him too.
Randy's the greatest, just simply because his earliest time, because if you actually look at it, obviously 2007 was amazing, but 98 when he came in, 99,
he had 17 touchdowns in 98.
That's what I'm saying.
I know we're not talking about the 90s, but that's.
And then he had 23 in 07. And he didn't even
17,
play
13, 2003.
And he was on those Raiders teams in between. There were some funky years, but he never disappeared.
No.
And I don't know.
He was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You're honestly, when you're debating Randy Moss and Terrell Owens, you're splitting hairs at that point.
Well, Randy, so here's the one thing.
Who would I rather have on my team?
Randy Moss. Here's the one thing. I think when you look at best wide receivers ever, it's consensus Jerry Rice is pretty much consensus number 1. I think it's hard. I think you could put Randy in that conversation. I think it's, for some reason, you never hear T.O. in that conversation. But you always hear. I know. And
it's actually kind of interesting that Randy had such a bad rap. If you ever seen
Rand University,
Rand U. So he was committed to Florida State. Then something. I think he got in a fight and hurt somebody.
Then he went to Notre Dame.
He
went to Notre Dame. Then Florida State.
Then got in the fight. Then Florida State. And then something else. I think he was smoking pot over and over again, getting drunk. And then he had to end up going to Marshall.
And they won the one double national title.
He had Chad Pennington.
Yeah, and Troy Brown. I mean, those Marshall teams were.
My point is, he wasn't squeaky clean. A lot of people didn't want to touch him.
No.
That's why he dropped. I think to 7. I think he was 17th overall. When he went.
Something like that.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. Click this down. I should tell you. But what is he? 21st overall.
21st. Which that's crazy.
Dude, that's like AJ Green, because they knew what he was. That's AJ Green or Julio Jones going at 21.
Yeah.
Serious character concerns.
Yeah.
But he obviously turned it around and.
Oh, I love Randy now. I mean, everyone.
He's one of my favorite guys to watch.
And I love his analysis. I'm looking forward to seeing his son in the NFL now, Thaddeus. I wish the Bengals would have picked him up. We already talked about that a little bit on a couple podcasts ago. But I will say this: I remember when he went in 07, when he went to New England. It was just clear of how – I know he had Tom Brady and everything like that, but they were so much better than anyone else in the field.
Right.
It wasn't even close. I was so pissed when they lost that Super Bowl. And I hate when people were like, oh, I want them to lose. No one realizes you're not going to see a 19-0 team.
Yeah.
You're not going to see it.
You probably will eventually.
Of course, eventually, but it's going to be a long time. I guess maybe this Chiefs team will do it because the offenses that are coming up. But we'll see. I don't know.
They're a tough division.
Yeah, they are a really tough division. So. But all right, so top 3 there. We all had Marvin Harrison, Terrell Owens, and Randy Moss, and then I had my 4 was Torrey Holt, and my 5 was Andre Johnson.
Some other names: Muhsin Muhammad.
Yep.
There was the guy for the Bills. Marcus Colston was another one. Who else in the Bills?
Derek Mason, Isaac Bruce, Donald Driver.
Yeah.
There's Laveranues Coles.
Yeah.
Muhsin Muhammad.
It was Eric Mold. Am I thinking that right? There was a guy on the Bills. Obviously, he's not that good if we can't even think of him.
Yeah.
But early 2000s.
I'm sure he was awesome.
That guy was great. That pretty much wraps it up. That's episode 18 of the Jungle Podcast.
It was fun doing this live.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
So we'll come back. Next one's Friday.
Yeah, we do Friday. Yeah.
And
another live one.
Yeah, we'll keep them coming. So 2 a week. Go vote on the polls. We'll post these on later today.
Yep. All right, man.
See you guys.
See ya.
How do I turn you off?